Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Chatting with Charles. And I am here with my special guest, Daenen of Internationally Insane Studios. Some of you may recognize him in the chat as Solitude. So, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing, Charles?
I am off to a good start this morning. I've had my French roast coffee, and I'm looking forward to a next cup after the show, and looking forward to having a great conversation with you.
That's awesome.
All right. So let's go ahead and let's welcome in our folks in the chat. Welcome to Herb of Fireside Studios, who was first into the chat, followed quickly by Keith H. And this guy named Internationally Insane Studios. Don't know who that is. And our buddy Wayne McConnell, it has been lurking. And our music brother-in-law, Ryan Hall. Ryan Hall, thank you for the email. I will answer that a little bit later today. Appreciate you sending that. And let's see, all Dave, all night. Good morning to you, sir. And good morning, Bonkers. And that is who is in our chat and maybe not lurking. And so we'll see how that all goes. So, Daenen, I came across your channel in, of all things, a YouTube short. And usually I don't ever sub a channel from YouTube short. But the video that you had done, I thought was really cool that I had to go and check out the rest of the channel. And for those of you that may not have seen it, Internationally Insane Studios, he actually records his own music and he puts it out there and for all the world to hear and critique and enjoy. And the video, the short I happened to watch was where he was giving permission for another fella to use his music. And I thought, that is so cool. If you want to use my music in your videos, go ahead and do it. And give permission to him to do it. And it was like this big, this announcement, everything. And so I really thought that was a really cool thing to do. And so I went and checked out the rest of your channel. And I liked what I saw because, here you are, a guy out there on his own, making some music, putting stuff together. And you got a process. And so I really enjoyed it.
I have some technical difficulties over here. It's saying to connect to join the chat.
Don't worry about that. You ignore the chat, and I'll take care of the chat for you, buddy.
Okay, because I'm locked out of it. So
okay, no worries. But I'll go ahead and I'll handle that. But tell me about that a little bit there.
What's that?
About allowing that fellow to use the video that brought me to you, where you were given permission for him to use your music.
Yeah, he listened to something that I made, and I listened to something that he made, and I thought he maybe wanted to do some recording with that music. And I just said I would give him permission because, it's, it would just be a cool thing to allow someone to be able to play your music or to jam out and use it on their own channel. I think that's my own personal thought on that.
Yeah.
And that was the third person that had asked me. And I was like, sure, go ahead.
And it was just a really cool gesture. And so it's what brought me to your channel. So, if anyone has not been to Internationally Insane Studios channel, I had put the link in the description. And I'm just going to go ahead and paste the link here as well. I want to welcome in a couple people. Welcome in R2, R3 Locking Nut. Welcome in Fursburful. Appreciate you coming in.
Hey, Fursburful.
And I think that brings us up to date.
Ryan Hall. Woo!
All right. So one of the things that I'd like to do, Daenen, is I like to kind of get an idea of. For me, I believe your guitar experience is basically a journey, right? And however humble its beginnings may be, you never know where it's going to take you. Welcome in, BC Rich 581. Good morning to you, sir. And so, I'm always interested in how people begin their guitar journey and what that journey has been like. So could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I started, it was 1989, I got my first guitar. It was I think that was the Les Paul Custom, and I got it from a music store. This is gonna sound insane. People are gonna be like, no way. There was a music store called Kick and Associates in Grand Rapids, and and they sold me a Les Paul Custom. It was a 1971 for $375. And then my buddy John, who was in a local band here in Grand Rapids, and that band was called 256. He wanted me to get a Mesa Boogie 50 cal combo amp. And so I went with John and we picked up that amp, and that was the beginning of me playing. And he didn't want me to play. This is so funny. He didn't want me to play anybody else's music either. This is so weird. So John didn't want me to play. He just said, I want to teach you chords, and I want you to try to come up with your own songs. And then another fellow by the name of Enemencio would come over, and he would also try to teach me chords and notes and fifths and thirds, and try to go around the neck with me and explain stuff to me. And that's basically how I began. Yeah. And then I gave up really early, which was a bummer. Those guys all kind of went their own way, and it was probably 91. I sold all my equipment, which I'm still beside. I should have never done it.
I think it's really interesting that your first amp was a Mesa Boogie. Right? I mean, that's like from my understanding, those amps don't dial in the same way that a Fender or a Marshall, and it's a little bit more fiddly to get the tone you want. And so, I thought that was interesting. I want to address a couple things in the chat, and I'm going to come back to you real quick. All right, so welcome in Martian Marine, Michael B. Live. And I think that's it. We're all thinking about the Coombs family and certainly hoping that they're doing well. So yeah, how long was it that you were playing in the beginning before you kind of gave up?
Only 2 years. That's such a bummer. Yeah, 2 years, and I just totally gave up because those guys all left. Mm-hmm. They all left. I didn't know where they went. I was trying to get a hold of them, and there was another local band that I was trying to get a hold of another guy from that. That was a band called Man Bites Dog. His name was Eric Sanger, and he was super smart and very intelligent about playing too, and had some really interesting songs. I hope to someday get connected with him so I can actually post some of his stuff. And I think the people here would trip out on some of the titles and the lyrics and the song names.
Oh my. All right, so how does the journey pick back up then?
I started going to a church in the late 90s, and I picked up an acoustic guitar, and I started messing with a couple pieces of music, and I played with a saxophonist and for the church, and we did a couple songs for the church, but that all kind of went to the wayside. My little brother passed away, and I didn't go. I just stopped going to church, and my mom just passed away. My dad passed away in '83, so it's like I was having some issues there too. So I kind of dropped out of everything, and kind of was just trying to, piece myself back together and trying to get myself back into a positive frame of mind, because that's tough when you lose your family.
Oh yeah, and sometimes when you walk away from something, you just I don't need all this clutter here, to remind me of that, and yeah, especially when you're dealing with something that kind of makes things so, and it makes it hard. So what is it that so you kind of walk away and you came back again a little bit, and then you walked away again. So what brings you back for the final time? How do you get back into it from there?
It's really weird. Somebody was on YouTube talking about YouTube and putting music on YouTube, and I can't remember. It was like the first time I heard of YouTube. It was a long time ago, and I just thought that's interesting. I'd like to maybe try to write some music and maybe post it. And I started to join some channels, and I was watching a million different channels on YouTube. This is like a long time ago too, and I just said, you know what, I think I'd like to try to do that. And then one of the holidays came up, and I said, I'm gonna go get a guitar. And this was only like, I don't even know if this was just 2 years ago now. I said, I'm gonna go get a guitar. I think I ended up getting that Studio first. I think the Epiphone Studio Special, which I
Well, when you go grab that and show it off.
It's definitely not in tune, so I won't be messing with it. But it was a very cheap guitar. I mean, I bought it from a guy at my work. He wanted $100 for it. That's it. And
Okay, that's a good deal.
And I had the pickups changed in it. And I mean, the overall sound is pretty good. I mean, I do.
Is that Seymour Duncans you put into it?
What's that?
Are those Seymour Duncans you put in it?
Yep. I got that. They're the hot rodded ones.
Uh-huh.
But I think I'm gonna change it out for EMG 81. So EMG 81 will go here, and EMG 85 will go here. I've been watching a guy, Elga Valaverta. He's from the band Syra.
Uh-huh.
And some of the stuff that he's explaining on how to get your sound. He's using Marshall amps, which I don't have a Marshall amp. I have a Mesa Boogie 5050 stereo rack mount amp. So,
all right.
And I still need to get a preamp to get that thing going. If I have a preamp, I can start actually doing some recording with that thing. But
well, I'm looking forward to that. So welcome in, Brother Trev. Welcome in. Glad to see you here. And welcome in, Guitar Man 45.
Okay, so this guy, this guitar was damaged.
Okay.
This entire strip here, let's stand up. This entire strip was all bent and all screwed up, and I basically had to take this whole thing apart, and I used a rubber mallet and a towel to straighten it. And that's perfectly straight now. And I think that was all that was wrong with this one. Although now it needs some intonation work.
Okay.
That's what I was saying.
Is that a Mexican Fender? Is it a player Fender?
Yep. They wanted 983 brand new, right?
Uh-huh.
The guy brought this in, and they had that little bit of damage, and this knob right here needs to be replaced too. It doesn't work very well.
Uh-huh.
Because it got hit. I think they dropped this guitar.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
They sold it to me for $400, and I was like, yeah, that's way better deal. $400.
Oh yeah, much better. It's a good looking guitar too.
Yeah, that's
welcome in OU812. Glad you popped in, and good morning, Blackjack Guitar.
And then this guy. Oh, gotta get this strap.
All right, so this is your number one, right?
Yeah, this is my favorite. This is basically another guitar that I owned in, what was it, 90? I think, yeah, 90. I think I had the same guitar, but it was just a different color. And this is
what are we looking at here?
This is a deluxe Strat Plus model, and it's a really interesting, instrument, because underneath this is a square cutout cavern.
Oh, like the swimming pool route?
So you can literally have 3 humbuckers if you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm actually going to set this up so it has a humbucker in the bottom, but I don't know yet for sure. I don't like the way these pickups sound. They're really noisy. It's almost giving some feedback, and I'm playing through it's an old bass amp. I don't have my guitar amp set up yet, but I think once that amp is set up, you know, and this is an actual original, you know, made in Corona, California. And I picked this up from a guy in Detroit, and he basically said if I wasn't going to be serious about playing music, he wouldn't sell it to me. And I said, "Oh, I'm serious." And I said, "I will post it." That was the beginning of posting videos to YouTube. I said, "I'll post a video to YouTube so you can see that I am kind of dedicated to writing and playing, you know."
Well, the chat is loving your gear, especially that Strat. So
that's awesome.
So let me ask you another question then. So talk to me about your process, because you had a recent video where you're kind of going through how you create a song, right?
Right.
And so you want to talk about that a little bit? Good morning, Hip Metal Works.
Sure, yeah. So sometimes I will grab the bass, and sometimes I'll grab my guitar. Just depends on the day. And I'll go, and I have my Boss RC5 pedal.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, I will have another camera, and it'll just be aimed down that way, so that everybody can see that.
Right.
And so I hook up that Boss RC5 pedal, and sometimes I'll listen to the drums, and sometimes I'll listen to a click track. I'll start messing with notes. That was something I explained on the video too. It's like I'm not paying attention to a scale. I'm not paying attention to what chord I'm starting off with. I'm just trying to come up with something that follows the beat of the drums or the click track. And I'll sit there and mess with a part, and I'll walk away. I'm like, I don't like that. And I'll change it. And I'll mess with another part. But you do want to record it, because if you don't record it, and it's simple to record your part on that pedal. It's super easy. I mean, I could do a video on that discussing how easy it is to use that pedal too. But so you use that pedal, you're recording a part, and I always like to have 3 different parts to a song. So, and 3 to 4 chord configurations per part. And if it's basic, it doesn't matter. I mean, you could be all over the neck, which I find that I never pay attention. I'm just listening, just, you know, hammering something out, listening to it and saying, I'm going to change that again. And that was just an example. You could see I changed the parts. I changed the part again. I changed the part again. And I was like, I came up with something halfway okay. And then I put guitar to it, and I uploaded both videos. So you have the video with me just playing the bass part and trying to figure it out, and then there's another part that I added, and I couldn't believe it. Ben commented, he was like, "Hey, nice." I was like, "Awesome."
Well, you know, that's one of the great things about this community. Once you start showing up in all the chats and talking to people, and people get to know, you know, who you are and that you're doing something, they go and they check it out, and they give their support, you know. And so when I learned about you, I started talking about you to some other folks, and I was like, oh yeah, I was checking out his stuff, and it was really good. Good morning, Janice. Welcome in. And Herb at Fireside Studios, I'm going to share this comment with you. He says, he switched to Easy Drummer 3. It allowed him to match his guitar part with to a drum beat instead of him matching the drums. And it's kind of been a breath of fresh air for him. So,
if I was good at computers, or somebody could come over and help me load a program, that was another thing I couldn't get loaded into my. I have the Reaper music program. I couldn't load anything into it. I had Steven Slate drums for like a minute, but then you had to reset the whole thing. I was like, I'm lost. I can't do it. I'll need some serious assistance for some work like that. But I know exactly what you're talking about because I have heard all these new drums systems and they sound amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Good morning, Gear Junkie 35. And Ryan Hall was just asking how to spell your first name, and so I put that into chat for him.
oh, cool. And it's Daenen too. I didn't want to correct you earlier, but it's Daenen.
No, please do, because I want to get it right, right?
I wanted to wait till we're, going into the show. So.
Oh, and so yeah, and so you use. I know in the past you used the Beat Buddy pedal.
Yep.
And you use the Boss RC1 or 2?
It's the Boss RC5.
Oh, 5. Okay.
It's
And good morning, Gear Junkie 35.
It's a little more expensive. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's worth it. I mean, to keep things simple. Oh, we have a visitor.
A 4-legged visitor?
Yeah.
That's not a visitor. That's a co-host.
Right. She has to make sure I'm okay. She hears me talking in here, so is that guy okay?
So what are the things that kind of supply your inspiration when you're thinking about writing a song?
Okay, this is gonna be, people won't agree with this, but I listen to all you guys. All you guys are inspiration to me, and I'm not joking when I say that. Everybody out there is, whether they're playing something that's not theirs or whether they're playing something that they wrote, that is something that inspires me. There's a guy named Chuck Silva from Detroit that I'm also subscribed to, and that guy, nobody watches his channel, and the guy is like absolutely amazing. It's just like all you guys. I mean, Herb is also an amazing player. Ryan, Janice. I was just listening to one of her original songs, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it is good." She had one that she redid, and it sounded amazing.
Yeah, one of the great things I love about this is that folks that go ahead and they write their stuff or they play their stuff and they put it out there for everybody else, because it's like, even for me, I'm not a really good player. And so when I get on a video and I have to play, I get nervous and I record it and I re-record it and I re-record it. And so knowing what that's like for me, for you folks to put your whole process on the camera and do it, is just, it blows my mind. Morning, Dave Chase. Morning, Quentin James. All right, so who are some of the YouTube channels and Morning Music Therapy, Laz?
How I write music first. What was that, Ryan? Ryan was saying how I write music first.
Oh, did I miss Ryan's comment? Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh, how do you write music first? Lyrics? Okay. So are you writing your music or lyrics at the same time?
I try to never write lyrics because I'm a horrible singer. All I try to do is I try to hum to whatever I'm doing. If you can't hum to it, and I mean, I'm trying to sing to parts, I'm not really saying anything, To me, like, if you can kind of sing to it, it can be a song. But if you can't sing to it, don't try something different. Change your keys around, change your notations around, and that's all. Basically, that's all I try to do. I try to make sure that whatever I'm playing, I can sing to it, but I'm not a singer. And I said that in my last video. I am not a singer.
Well, I mean, but I don't know. We answered this question all the way, but but where do you get your inspiration from? What do you? I know you were talking about you get it from, you're getting it from the other YouTube channels that you're listening to.
Yep.
But where else? Where are the other influences? What's the music that you listen to? What are the things that what are you trying to sonically do?
I'm not really trying. I don't. If people say I sound like this or that, that's fine. I'm not trying to sound like anybody specific. I'm just trying to write pieces that sound good to me. And when I say the people out there are they're an inspiration to me. I'm listening to what they're playing, and this is I almost got in trouble for saying what I said. I said, I'm listening to what you're playing. I'm not playing what you're playing. And I'm playing something along with what you're playing. And sometimes that's how I write. Now, if you go back and listen, like I can tell you a specific song. There's a Joni Mitchell song. She's from a long time ago. There's a specific song. I think it was All of You. And I was listening to that, and I came up with a bunch of different parts. So that was an inspiration to me.
Mm-hmm.
The other day, I was listening to Chuck Silva, and he was playing a specific thing on his part and in his song, and I was playing something that would go with it, but it doesn't. It's not any of the notes what he's playing, and I came up with a part just listening. And again, you could listen to any of my stuff and listen to his stuff, and you're not going to find anything that's even similar. But
Mm-hmm.
he was still inspiring me to write that piece of music. And it really, when I say that, I'm not joking. I'm listening to a channel. I was listening to Michael Nielsen, and he was doing an amp shootout. And he was playing all these different cool things, and I started messing with a piece, and I started kind of playing over top of what he was doing. But it does anything that he would, and that's kind of my inspiration. And that's basically as soon as I start hearing somebody's music that they're doing, I'll go grab my guitar. Everything's hooked up. All I got to do is plug in the guitar and go, and I'll start something that they're not playing yet, but I'm playing something kind of with whatever they're doing.
Right.
And that thing to do. I dropped out for a second there.
All right. Well, yeah, I think we got it back, though. I think we're good. I don't know what's going on, but we're just going to go ahead and power through. All right, yeah, I mean, and that's great. The idea that we can all inspire each other is fantastic.
Everybody out there is an inspiration to me. All you guys. Not joking.
Right. So, what are your musical influences, right? What's the kind of music that kind of gets you going and makes you want to sit down and play?
This is I forgot to mention. I felt a little bit ashamed. Hank Marvin. We forgot all about Hank Marvin the other day when we were talking about guitarists. Marvin Shadows.
Mm-hmm.
That I'd say number one. He was the number one guy, and Pink Floyd, and David Gilmour, and Hank Marvin. It's funny. My buddy reminded me, and it was something that his mom was listening to when it came out, and we still have the original albums from when those first came out. He still has them in a collection, and Hank is an amazing guitar player. I think a lot of guitar players out there also started playing because of Hank.
Wow.
Hank Marvin. I love Pink Floyd. Probably some of the newer stuff that I'm listening to. The new Winger album.
Yeah.
At 7.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I'll go through. I'm listening to Ragdoll. I don't know if you know of them. They have a few albums.
Ragdoll, I'm not familiar with them as much.
Really cool stuff. I have a huge music playlist. I don't know how I can get it to come up here. I mean, I suppose I could. I don't know of the legalities of that. If I put up a playlist and I scroll through it for people, would that be something that would be?
It might be. It might be. But okay, so Ragdoll and Pink Floyd and so those are some good, some really good stuff.
Zeppelin, King's X,
Uh-huh.
Judas Priest, John Cougar Mellencamp, Jalusic. Jalusic is a newer band, but I'm sure people have heard of him because he's been in a bunch of other different bands. Dino Jalusic, but the band is just called Jalusic. Incubus, love those guys still. Heroes and Monsters, Glenn Hughes, Ghost. I don't know if you're familiar with Ghost. Extreme's new album, Six. Awesome. Elegant Weapons. It's a German band called Icebreaker. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome band. Dio, Syra, Cry of Love. I don't know if anybody remembers them, but they sang that song in the 90s called Peace Pipe. Really cool song. Boston. 1976, still listening to Boston.
Excellent.
But yeah, that's a good.
I'm going to welcome in a couple people here that I've been dying to welcome in. Want to go ahead and say good morning to Music Therapy Labs. Welcome in. And Rico B has made it in. And appreciate you two fellas for coming on in. Music Therapy Labs will be going live after me today, so let's make sure that we go on over there. When we're talking about inspiration, Daenen, Gear Junkie 35 had put in, for me, inspiration's absolutely everywhere. The 3 or 4 notes from a wrench clattering on a concrete floor can be enough to generate a melody, which generates a sub-melody, and so on and so forth. Love that.
Terry says I can show a playlist. It's not a copyright.
Oh, there you go. As well, and good morning, Terry. Welcome in. I hadn't seen you in here before.
So let's see. I'll go to Ragdoll first. If anybody wants to see what I'm listening to in a specific playlist, just comment, and Charles hopefully can do that, and I will show it to you. Right now, I'm gonna go to the Rag list.
And if anyone in the chat has a question for Daenen, let's go ahead and type it in the chat. We'll get an answer to you. All right. So looking at Tell Me Remastered, Could It Be Love, Heaven Above, Overnight Sensation, All I Want, Tell Me. All right. Very cool.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my killer playlist. You know, I forgot to mention these guys. These guys, I love these guys. Been listening to them since the 70s too.
Okay. Yeah. What have you got coming next? What are you looking to do? What are you looking to accomplish with your channel?
Basically just come up with some original music and work with other people out there. I'm working with a guy right now. I don't know if anybody noticed on the one song. What was it? It was I have to look it up. And it's too new. He just sent me the message, and I just went into it. And
well, I'm going to welcome in Martin of L&M Guitar Corner. Welcome in, buddy. Martin has a new video out as well that he just launched this morning. The next step in his 335 build, and so that is definitely worth checking out.
Where is that? Subscriptions.
Mm-hmm.
Charles.
And Laz is doing, of course, his Veterans Day show right after this, so worth it, definitely. No, Martin, we're glad to see you. Thank you, buddy. All right, you find it?
I'm not finding it. I guess I'm going to have to go back into the comments.
All right, well, we check that out later. So let's go back to what we're talking about. So what do you got coming up? What do you want to do with your channel? What are your goals for it?
Basically, to write some original music and work with some people out there and publish it. That's kind of what I want to do. I want to just write music and work with other people and get it published and split the royalties or whatever. You know, I think that would be fun to do too. And I'm not a big go out and play out. I'm not into that. I'm like, no. Just like I was watching, OU812 was talking about lugging gear. It's like, no, I'm not doing any of that anymore. I did that in the 80s.
No lugging gear in your future?
No, I'm not lugging gear. I did all that in the 80s. I was lugging gear and lugging a projector and the drum sets and the 412 cabinets and for my friend's band and 256 back in the day in the 80s. And yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. I would rather just stick to writing, you know, write, come up with something. And if other people are like into it and they want to work with me, I'll work with them. I'll do whatever I can do. And of course, there's a lot of stuff I need to learn. I don't know. I'm not super computer literate yet for recording and for the music programs. And
well,
yes, I want to be.
If anyone wants to go ahead and sub to Daenon's channel, go over there, check out Internationally Insane Studios. I've had a lot of fun being there. And so I'm putting that link up in the chat, and I'll put it again towards the end of the show as well. But he's been a joy to talk with as we've been going through things, and as I've been watching his stuff. And so, you know, I think it's worth a look. I think it's definitely worth a look. So, what do you got coming up? What are you having the plans for? What you're working on the channel?
Probably just another. I'll probably come up with another new song. I'm always working on a new song, so I don't ever try to stick with the same thing. I want to continue to write. It helps me to understand what other people are liking to hear too, because if people are commenting and saying, "Hey, that sounds good," or "I like it harder," and that's kind of my thing. I want to get people more involved, and I'm hoping that people start commenting. There's still videos out there. There's like one comment, one comment. It's like, okay,
they will. I mean, it starts. That's the amazing thing about YouTube. It starts small and it builds, right?
right.
You know, mine was the same way. Mine was the same way, and in the beginning, and then it just kind of picks up, and you start getting views, and you start getting recommends and stuff like that. And so just keep putting that stuff, keep putting the stuff out there, right? Keep putting it out there, keep working on it. I want to welcome in Josh Tanberg, that he came into the chat, and if I've missed anybody, please forgive me. If you do have any questions for Daenen, please go ahead and ask them in the chat. He's been a lot of fun to talk with today, and I've been enjoying his channel. I've been watching the process, and it's where you do stuff that I don't have the nerve to do, right? And so I want to make sure that
I think that, Charles, I think you can.
I get my playing up so I can begin doing some stuff. I'd love to do some stuff with you. If you have not seen Martin and Luke's new video on that 335 build, I just put the link into the chat so that you can check that out as well. But Martin is our friends, and Martin is Daenen and Guitar Corners are friends over in Austria, and he's working on a couple of different builds, and he's been dyeing up a 335 project, and so he put out his next installment this morning, so you may want to check that out later, bud.
I'll definitely check it out.
All right. So I don't know. So, where do you want to go? What do what do you want to do with the channel? You want to grow it? You want to stay small? Where are you going with it?
I just kind of letting people know how I do what I do. I just think it's kind of cool because this way it'll help someone else discover. Like, I think that you could go live and play, no problem. But it's just a matter of getting more comfortable. That's all it is. And if I can do something to make it easier to be able to come onto YouTube and play, then that I'm doing something right.
Well,
And that's
you've
basically
got to definitely think. You've got me definitely thinking about using a looper pedal and doing some other things, and maybe trying to lay down a bass track and do this and play with some other things, or playing with some backing tracks like I've seen other people do. Because right now I'm plinking, I'm kind of plinking away here to lessons and stuff like that, and I've been working with Ben a little bit, and working on my scales right now, trying to get better, trying to build up a little dexterity here in the left hand, and but I'm certainly looking forward to it. And you've kind of opened my eyes to about what can be real, what can be done really quickly. And I really, like I said, I really love what is the name of that video though, where you went through that process? Do you remember what the name of it was?
I can look real quick. I should be able to find that really easy. The other one I just can't find that. I'll have to make a video and mention that guy that he's working with me right now. So that video, my channel
Is
videos.
that the I'm attempting to write the bass parts of the entire song? Is
Yes,
that the one?
yes. It's October 31st, 2023. I'm attempting to write, yes. And it's a 24-minute and 15-second video. And that's under, if you were to go into my channel under playlist, it would be under the bass only. There's bass, and then there's 70s rock, and then there's, mellow light music or whatever.
So Herbert Fireside Studios is asking, do you use a DAW?
I have it set up, but again, since I never learned about the computer program, I have the Reaper program, and I was trying to get the downloads for the plugins. The guy that designed the computer for me, he actually made the computer. He's from Holland, Michigan, and he couldn't even help me to get the downloads. And then there's a few different guys that I messaged. And there was one guy that I actually emailed, and he was doing a specific video that was talking about Reaper and how to put everything into your system. I'm lost, and all the guys that are doing the Reaper stuff, none of it's relevant. I have Windows 11. They don't have Windows 11, and everything that they're saying to do, I'm clicking on every single button and doing everything they say. I wrote everything down. It still doesn't work. And the guy told me that he explained to me what was going on. He said he would have to physically be here to get it going for me.
Oh, that's a shame. Well, if there is anyone that could maybe help out Daenen with that particular problem, feel free to go ahead and email me. My email link is on my About Me channel, About Me part tab of my channel, and then I'll get you guys hooked up together. And Herba Fireside Studios does say, there is a bunch of Reaper info on YouTube.
Just nothing that was relevant to my issues. But yeah, the guys are cool. The guys that are doing all this stuff are really cool. It's just it's not relevant to hook up into my system.
And Terry's got a little bit of experience with computers. He's kind of a computer nerd, so to speak. And he said Windows 11 64-bit can run Windows 10 64-bit apps. So it may be something that you just need a little more help with. So check out YouTube and see what you can find out. Maybe it's just a research kind of thing. And if anyone, like I said, if anyone can help Daenen out with that, please feel free to email me and I'll get you guys hooked up together.
Yeah, if we were doing a one-on-one and where someone could see what I'm doing, see my screen, they're gonna see what the problem is. I mean, that it's gonna be obvious to them, but it's not obvious to me because I'm downloading the thing into a file and the file's not connecting to Reaper. It's like, why isn't the file connecting to Reaper?
Yeah, Herba Fireside Studio says that Studio One is pretty easy to use.
Okay. But I don't want to wrap my head too much into that stuff because if it becomes like overwhelming, it's like I'd rather just go grab my instrument and plug it in and play.
Yeah. And Hip Metalworks was saying, yeah, Reaper does work good, but it can be intimidating. Plenty of options to confuse you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm one of those people. I want like few options, and like give me, 2 things to go with, and you get into 3 and 4, and then it's, I just want to be able to do it.
Right. And I still need microphones. I still don't have microphones, and you really need microphones. I did just recently pick up something that I was told to pick up, so it's something that you have to have. And the guys were explaining it to me, and of course you got to have a microphone to use this. You're plugging in your mic, basically. Reamping system, so you can reamp the whatever parts you're working on. You can basically reamp whatever kind of amplifier you want it to sound like. You could have a Marshall, or you could have a Soldano, or a Mesa Boogie, or
Yeah, I mean,
there's Charles.
That stuff can all get really confusing, right? And there's just no other way to get to it than to work with it and just start figuring it all out sometimes.
It is. I mean, it's overwhelming, and I mean, if anybody that is not I'm not a computer savvy guy. I think you already know this because you're helping me with doing this stuff. It's like,
but that's like, I think sometimes with folks that aren't as computer savvy, it comes down to don't be afraid of it, right? Stop saying I'm not computer savvy and just start playing around with stuff. And it's like anything. I think it's in some ways it's like anything else. The more you get familiar with it, the more comfortable you're going to be, the better it's going to work out. Right. And sometimes when you go in with that, it's like everything. When you go in with some fear, you make it harder. Right. you make it harder for yourself.
That is true.
That was like Terry saying, it's why once he figured out OBS, he just wanted to go direct record, uploads, rare occasion that he edits, and Windows Live Movie Maker. As mentioned, no simple software out there for video audio edits. And it's like when I started doing my videos, I hadn't really used a video editor at all, and I use a Movie Maker Pro, and I enjoy doing it. Actually, I do video editing now at work as part of my job because of that. Cool. Like, okay, well, and it was like, but I had no experience with it before I started doing YouTube at all. Yeah, Gear Junkie 35 is saying there's lots of trial and error, Hopeful Studios and Glenn Fricker's tutorials out there that'll help you get started as well. So it's a matter of, you search that YouTube for what you're trying to do, and it's probably out there in some way, shape, form.
The guy explained to me it's something to do with programming, and some kind of, I think Terry was saying something about bit files or something. There was a problem with it where it won't load into the Reaper system, and I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Terry was saying something about it might not be compatible with Reaper, that thing that you were trying to use.
Reamp.
I don't
Okay.
know about that, Terry. It's been a Charles in Charge media production.
It really has
All
been.
right, yeah, you go ahead, get ready, go do your show. We'll send folks over your way in about 10 minutes, bud. Thank you for dropping in. Janice, thank you for dropping in as well. Appreciate you. All right, so you know, I've been asking you questions for like 50 minutes. You got any questions you want to ask me?
Yeah. What made you get into wanting to do the cloth wrapping? What did you see somebody doing it, or did you hear of it, or?
Well, I had the reason why I got into cloth wrapping was I had gotten a SG special that I had won off a Scar My Guitar channel, and the post office broke the neck delivering it, and so I was like, okay, I've got to get a new neck for it, and so I bought the LP Junior there that you see fabric topped. I bought that because I figured, okay, it's an Epiphone. That's an Epiphone. I'll grab the neck off. It'll fit, right? I was still really new to guitar, and I didn't realize the neck pocket of the SG was different. So, so when I got it, of course, the neck didn't fit in the neck pocket of the SG, and I'm like, okay, now what am I going to do with this thing? So I was on Ben Coombs' channel, on I think it was one of his Monday night hangs, and we were doing the whole question connects guitars rather, and I was doing the whole question and answer thing. I said, look, I bought this Junior to sit there and do it with, but of course it doesn't work, and the finish on it's crap. So what should I do? Should I repaint it? Should I refin it? Or should I fabric top it? Because I had heard Ben talking about fabric topping. He had talked about a fabric top guitar a while back. And so his response was, hey, go ahead and fabric top it. There aren't enough fabric tops out there in the world. And so I did that one, and kind of had a goal for it. I just wanted it to look like someone had fabric topped it in their garage back in the 60s. And then from there, when I had it done, Ben invited me onto the channel again to show it off, and I showed it off. And from there, Unbelievable was watching it, and he was about ready to send Ben that Kramer Beretta special, and where he was going to have to reconstruct it. And he saw he saw my fabric top, and he says, you know what? I'm going to send you the body, and you fabric top the body, and then we'll put it all together. And so I was like, oh crap, I've only done one fabric top before. Now everybody's going to see this up close and personal. I better make sure I know what I'm doing. And so I had that Strat that is fabric top there. It was in the garage. It was just an old beat up guitar I bought for $24, and was very unhappy with it when I got it because how cheaply built it was. So I just, it was just sitting out in the garage doing nothing. I said, well, let me fabric top this body. So I got another one under my belt before Ben's gets here, and so did that one, and then did Ben's, and so it just kind of became a thing after that. Oh, Kush, you're too kind, buddy. You're too kind. But yeah, that was how I got there. And
Just
Kush,
hear the
thank you.
cowbell. uh,
And and so I've been doing fabric tops ever since. And thank you, fucking believable. Really appreciate that.
I thought that Kramer was awesome.
Thank you. But yeah, and so we just kind of keep on keeping on, and like I said, I really enjoy the community, and so if that's my thing in the community, then great. That makes that's my thing in the community. I just enjoy it, and then lately I've been doing the fabric topping got me to meet Seth Presley of California Customs. Presley California Customs, and we do our show on Friday nights. We were originally, it was in this time slot, so we've been having fun doing that. And then of course folks wanted me to kind of keep this time slot, so now we're doing chatting with Charles, and so I'm just enjoying being out there and doing stuff.
Well, yeah, I definitely to come
Too
up
kind.
with a little money. I definitely want to send you a guitar. Definitely.
We're gonna have to talk about that. We're definitely gonna have to talk about that. Yes, Gear Junkie. What I was trying to remember who had put together the term Dr. Fabric Top, and it was Gear Junkie 35. Appreciate that. Oh, that is funny. Herbert Fire says she says heard that Texas Toast was going to offer me a job. Oh, so let me go ahead and I want to go ahead and okay, let me put something into chat here. So let's we're going to be ending here pretty soon, and want to go ahead and get everybody over to Music Therapy Labs' show. So let me grab that link for you guys and pop that into the chat. And there you go. Yep, started out at Q Junkie 35. Started out as Mr. Fabric Top, and then saw the hours and hours of standing, and you had earned a degree doctor upgrade. Thank you, my friend. Too kind. So in the chat there, we have Music Therapy Labs, the link to his show that's coming up next. And let me go ahead and I'm going to drop your link in here again, buddy, because we want to make sure that we get some people over you to check out what you're doing, because I really am enjoying it.
That's awesome.
All right, so anything else you'd like to share before we get ready to work our way out of here, bud?
How many guitars do you got back there?
That's
what I wonder. There's a lot of guitars.
There's not a fair question, because not all of them stay. They leave. You know, like these two are not for me, right? So this is a Telecaster. I'm gonna fabric top for my brother when I get time, and this is another Junior that I'm going to go ahead and double bind and fabric top and put out there for sale later. So, but I think I've got there's somewhere around 20 that are legitimately here and staying here, and assorted projects all around.
And then are those your amps back there?
Yeah, I've got the PP Classic 30 is new to me within the last couple months, and even more recent is the Valve Junior tube head, and behind that is an Epiphone Electarb Tube 10, which was my first tube amp.
I hope to hear that PV someday, because I know PV was pretty awesome quality back in the day. Well, so I don't know.
That PV does sound great. It's what Ben Coombs calls my first big boy amp.
That's cool.
Oh, well, Daenen, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a great show. I've really enjoyed everything going on your channel, and keep up the good work, man.
Well, thank you. You too. We all are inspirations to each other, and I will continue to follow everybody out there.
There you go. There you go. So, folks, go ahead and check out Internationally Insane Studios on YouTube. It's a lot of fun there. And thank you, everyone, for being here and joining us once again. We appreciate you being here. And, Chris, man, you said it's a great show. Well, it's only a great show because all you great people are here. And it's really, again, this is all about the community. So, with that, I am going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and I'm going to play the outro music, and we're going to check you guys out. Check us out again next week, and we'll see what's going on then. Enjoy, and Enjoy your guitar journey. Thank you for being part of ours today, folks.